So once we get the beginning polished and we've got a killer opening that sucks the reader right in, what's the next? Where do stories typically tend to fall apart? Where you seeing most mistakes?
Oh, the middle. And this, I think it's part of that emphasis that publishing has drilled into writers, that the first chapter is the end all be all of their career. So I hate that, because part of it is true that you do only send that part with the query, and that could be make or break. So I think a lot of writers spend a lot of time really polishing the beginnings of their manuscripts, and then the middle sort of doesn't get the same love and care. They know where they want the story to end, so the endings can be really, really strong. And then that middle is, okay, what's my word count? Like, you can almost see it in, like, as you read, like, what the writers are thinking of, like, oh, this is too short to be a novel, so I'm going to add this scene now. And it, for me, I think a way to avoid that, the lagging middle is what, it's often referred to. To avoid that, I would just say, did this chapter build off of what the previous chapter set up? Or is it repeating what the previous chapter already said? If it's repeating, delete it, or find a way to come at that information from a different perspective to give the story new life. And, always make sure the story is moving forward. I see a lot of the lagging middles just end up creating like a circle of, okay, this part has already been established. We already knew this about this character. Do we really need another scene that reinforces this character trait? And like really just like start picking apart what's necessary, because by the time the plot is established, which should be between chapters 3 to 5, if on average, again, depends, literary fiction writers, different. But on average, especially for kidlit, you really got to keep it pacey. And if that plot has been established, then the middle of the book should keep building on the plot, because all of that, character establishment and, what is the premise, all of that's already been done. So if you're still reinforcing the premise in the middle of the book, then usually there's a pacing issue.
Gotcha. And so what's the best way to fix it when you're still establishing your premise?
To fix establishing the premise, you mean?
Yeah, to fix that lagging middle, because I haven't established my premise properly.
Go back to the beginning.
Okay,
so the premise of the novel,
poisoning your plot is pushing.
Usually, if you're kind of stuck in the middle, and I've heard this from writers before too, of just like, God, I'm even boring myself with this story now. If you're bored, the reader will be bored. So if you find yourself really struggling with this middle of the book of like, oh, I don't know what happens next, and I just want to get to this point. I as a writer, I would say I would be very annoying if I was my own client, because I tend to just skip ahead and I write out of order. And to me, that helps. I'm definitely more of a pantser than a plotter. I think people who know how to plot probably don't have this issue as much. But people who are just like kind of writing, they know where they want the story to end. They know who this character is. The middle of like where things actually need to be well plotted is the part where things fall apart in a lot of novels I have come across. But I would be like absolutely guilty of that too when I write on my own projects. I'm just like, oh my God, can I just get to the end? Like, I hate this.